out 2 shows in a row, right? One at the Freedom Link. They're going to have Rima Labo and General Stubblebine. That would be Thursday night, tomorrow night, at 5 to 6:30 Pacific. Those of you on the East Coast, I think you can figure that out. And then directly following that, from 7 to 9 p.m. Pacific, I will be co-hosting with Proof Negative over at Blog Talk Radio /Proof Negative, and we will be interviewing Russ Dizdar. And let me explain to you why that's going to be one of the best interviews you will ever hear. See, it explains how he'll explain the symbolism behind the New Age movement and its connection to Luciferianism, and he'll also explain the difference between modern Satanism, its connections to government through the OTO, and on the New World Order's new world religion. Well, let me tell you something, folks. That's what we're going to be talking about tonight, right? Now, many of you saw that spiral over Norway, right? Well, that fits big into the New World Order plans. And let me explain to you why. You see, Share International is part of the United Nations. It's the only religion allowed at the United Nations through Lucis Trust. Lucifer Trust's real name is, Lucis Trust's real name is Lucifer Trust. Okay, they changed it so you folks wouldn't know their intent. Now, I've explained to you the history of the New Age movements, and it's all the way back to Baal worship. It's actually the second oldest religion there ever was, or equally as old as all religions, but hidden in symbolism behind the sun. And they believe that Christianity is a perversion of their religion. In other words, they worship Lucifer, the light bearer, and the sun being that symbol, because they believe that when the sun rose in the east and set in the west, that was the sun rising and warming them and saving them from the darkness of night. And then as it set at night, the sun would die and then rise again as their risen Savior. So they believe all religion is a perversion of their religion. And that's their secret knowledge that they possess. Well, these people at Share International, and to emphasize that, folks, Share International, their advertisements are in Time Magazine for free. They're on all the major networks for free. Just look up the Maitreya, and I will have been putting some footage in here along so you people will understand why this is so important. Because they also believe depopulation must occur, but it's for a very different reason. Very different reason. They believe that certain groups of people's attitudes, because the way they were raised, is stopping them from transcending, because they meditate until they hear voices in their heads, and they say they're talking to these ascended masters or spirits, and that these spirits are guiding them, telling them that mankind will evolve out of its troubles if it can just remove this group of attitudes, and if it can just change its way of living so that it stops breeding so much and breaks apart the family and reaches out for technology, super technology, to live forever. That is what how should you call it, the forbidden fruit that's offered them. Okay? And so, and people say, well, that's the craziest stuff I ever heard. Why does that matter? Well, this is why it matters. They are the only religion allowed at the UN. And the United Nations operates, and in their own documents, which I'll show you, they base their principles upon these principles of theosophy. Now, from theosophy also comes the principles of socialism and communism. That's the theosophists helped write that, okay? And their goals are the same, to take over the world. If you look at what they say about their Maitreya, he says they will unite the world in a new world government, under a world system, under a new style of living. And that the heralding of his coming would be this star sign in the sky seen around the world. And I knew they were going to come out and claim this star as their sign, because the crises have been generated already. You know this. I've shown you in many videos. The banking crisis generated by who? The people who worship the Maitreya at the UN. You see, the UN's like the Masons and like Share International. You only get promoted there when 2 or 3 others nominate you for a new position, so they can vet everybody before they move on. They can know their every view and test them. And they've been allowed to operate unmolested all this time. all this time to make their plans against you. And their plans, you read the UN documents, it's depopulation, the world by 2/3. Look at Ted Turner, look what he said. Look what the Rockefellers say regularly and compare that to Share International. Benjamin Krim claims to be the man in touch with the Maitreya. Now this is why it's important as well, see? When the world is in complete turmoil and crisis and they present you a Messiah with fake miracles, because they can do this now with the mind control that they can do with HAARP. And look up the patents. I'm not exaggerating. They can mimic your brain's ELF waves. And they say they can clearly control thought, add thought. The only thing they can't do with it is read thought yet, and that may even be possible now. So you really need to investigate. Investigate Tesla patents and HAARP, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Now, the reason that they're going to do this is because they believe that they cannot ascend to godhood. If you look at Share International and what they believe that if they just get rid of the wrong attitude, they will finally become gods and the whole world will transcend. And that's what these people are teaching them. And you have to understand something else too. Almost every scientific project, major world cooperated one, is funded by the UN. Things like CERN, trying to create what happened at the creation of the universe, black holes, and to open other dimensions. Well, listen, folks, we know there's other dimensions if you believe any religion, because every religion there ever was says, at least ancient religion says that there are other dimensions. But how do they describe those dimensions, folks? One of those places you don't want to open up. Under any circumstances, and if you think I'm exaggerating, research what they did with the A-bomb, the atom bomb, in their research. They had, half scientists believed that the atom bomb would cause a chain reaction and incinerate the earth and maybe everything. And with 50% dissent, they set it off anyway to see what it would do. That's the point I've been trying to make to you folks that are sitting on the fence that think, oh, that can't be true. But it's true with the A-bomb, and you know it's true with HAARP. They're heating up the ionosphere, the thing that keeps your skin from burning off, that deflects the harmful radiation that would burn you up. And I don't mean it would fry you instantly, but it would burn you up. People already get skin cancer from being exposed to the sun. And so they have the technology and tools necessary to do this. The HAARP also presents 3D holograms, perfect ones. So combine that with being able to also put thoughts in your head, to creating massive signs and wonders, because that's what the good book says. Signs and wonders. The Antichrist will do signs and wonders. Benjamin Krim says that what we saw were giant UFOs, and they're going to come down and deliver the Maitreya's to us. Even though he claimed the Maitreya is already here and it was in the Himalayas and then living in England. So you would think that people would think this is crazy. And I do, you know, but people think I'm crazy for believing the Bible. But look at what these people believe. And they're running the world. Folks, the New Age movement is Lucifer worship. That's what it is. Look at Alice Bailey. Look at Helena Blavatsky. And that's what all the New Age religions are based on. And the Masons. And the Masons and the Knights of Malta and the Vatican and all of them together have funded the UN, and the Pope sits at every meeting of the UN with Share International. You have to look at what the money powers are doing to you, the little guy, and what they say. They say you are the enemy. The National Security Memorandum 200 to openly talks of exterminating you. The UN. Look at the current climate talks and what's coming out of there in the papers. I've got all them latest things. It says your children and you are the problem, and they have to stop you from breeding. But it's okay with them to use babies to extend their lives by grinding them down into some kind of something they can implant in themselves. Folks, if that's not sickness, if that's not craziness, I don't know what it is. It's okay to grind up babies and insert them in you, but yet you can't, the average person has to be gotten rid of. And they say 2/3 or 85% really, but back when Blavatsky was in them and Alice Bailey were riding, it was 2/3 of you had to go. So folks, when you see them bring this person to you to say he's the Messiah, and you see wonders, please don't believe it immediately. I'm NSM Dog. See you on the next round.
Days, speak the truth, or make your peace.